pray, kneeling low, hear what we say. Freedom calls in every tone. Faith is built on hearts of stone. Vibes so raw, can't hide the truth. Words so sharp, they cut right through. Real talk for the soul's appeal. Prayers rise up, the wounds they heal. Lift our voices to the sky, a righteous perspective high. On this path we won't back down, for the Father wears the crown. Each step brings another fight. Breaking chains, we're seeking light. Voice of power won't be tamed. With his love, we're never shamed. Lift our voices to the sky, a righteous perspective high. On this path we won't back down, for the Father wears the crown. From the ashes.
All right, let's get after it. Let's get active today. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back. It's your man Wise. And hey, man, I appreciate you guys pulling up this morning. Happy Inauguration Day. It's been a great day for America. Great day for America. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to the Blues in the chat. B, what's going on with your sister? Yeah, I heard that J6ers are being released. Shout out to UTA Caskey. What's going on with you, brother? What's going on, Ed Maurer? How you doing? Appreciate you pulling up today, as always. Survival of a church girl. Appreciate you pulling up. What's going on, RJ Hudson? Let me see, did I miss anybody? What's going on, Candace Hall? How you doing? Sacktown in the building. All right, we got a great show, man. We got a great show today, man. We have a great show, and we're going to get things kicked off. Make sure you guys hit the like button for me, like, share. Make sure y'all subscribe, turn the notifications on so you never miss the uploads, as they come out. Appreciate everybody supporting the channel. If you would like to support the channel financially, ARP family, super chat, super thanks, greatly appreciate it. You can buy me a coffee, link in the description box below. Appreciate you guys supporting. What's going on, Tony Hudson? How you doing today, brother? Appreciate you pulling up. All right, let's get after it.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States
the office of President of the United States
and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
I'm not gonna lie, Biden, it looked like he fell asleep a couple times this morning. It looked like it. The look on Kamala's face, she just looked like she wanted to be anywhere but there. And, you know, I got to say, man, the First Lady, Melania, was stunning. That hat was fire. That hat was fire. I didn't like that it had it so low on her eyes, but it was definitely a good look, man. Good look. So earlier today, history was made as Donald Trump was sworn in for his second term during the 60th inaugural ceremonies. The freezing D.C. weather, because yes, it is cold out here. The freezing D.C. weather pushed all the events indoors for the most part, you know, into the U.S. Capitol Rotunda. But that right there did not stop hundreds of thousands of patriots from showing up. The energy was electric. Trump is officially back in charge. And this day, it could not have gotten here fast enough, to be honest with you. I mean, we've been waiting for a long time. And let's take a moment to reflect. Trump didn't just win. He didn't just win. He won on just a scale that I don't think most people thought would happen. I mean, we're talking securing 312 electoral college votes, edging out Kamala Harris in the popular vote. I mean, this was more than a victory. It was a landslide. It was a clear message from the American people that support for Trump has expanded across the nation, even beyond traditional red states. And despite the cold, D.C. was buzzing. I wanted to go down there so bad. I knew some people that went down there, had some conversations with them, but obviously I was here with you guys, but it was also cold as all get out. Goodness gracious, it was cold out there this morning, you know, and today, it just wasn't about a celebration. It was about purpose. You know, Trump's return signals a fresh start with big challenges ahead. Of course, it's economic recovery. National security is at front of mind. Healthcare reform, you know, and so much more. With Congress, Elon, RFK, Tulsi, and the dream team in place, it is now time to get to work. The ceremony saw past presidents, Biden, VP Harris, Clinton, Bush, Obama. They're all in attendance, along with key dignitaries. But I will say this, it went off without anything crazy happening. Tradition was respected. But Trump's classic jab at Biden, in my opinion, it stole the show. The speech was on point. The speech was on point. But we're going to get into it, man. Let's dive into this historic day. Make sure that you guys like the video for me, like the stream. I would appreciate it. Anybody with a super thanks, super chat, it will stop the show. We'll say whatever it is that you want said. Let's keep it going.
As we gather today, our government confronts a crisis of trust. For many years, a radical and corrupt establishment has extracted power and wealth from our citizens while the pillars of our society lay broken and seemingly in complete disrepair. We now have a government that cannot manage even a simple crisis at home, while at the same time stumbling into a continuing catalog of catastrophic events abroad. It fails to protect our magnificent, law-abiding American citizens, but provides sanctuary and protection for dangerous criminals, many from prisons and mental institutions that have illegally entered our country from all over the world. We have a government that has given unlimited funding to the defense of foreign borders, but refuses to defend American borders or, more importantly, its own people. Our country can no longer deliver basic services in times of emergency, as recently shown by the wonderful people of North Carolina, been treated so badly. And other states who are still suffering from a hurricane that took place many months ago. Or more recently, Los Angeles, where we're watching fires still tragically burn from weeks ago without even a token of defense. They're raging through the houses and communities, even affecting some of the wealthiest and most powerful individuals in our country, some of whom are sitting here right now. They don't have a home any longer. That's interesting. But we can't let this happen. Everyone is unable to do anything about it. That's going to change. We have a public health system that does not deliver in times of disaster, yet more money is spent on it than any country anywhere in the world. And we have an education system that teaches our children to be ashamed of themselves in many cases, to hate our country despite the love that we try so desperately to provide to them. All of this will change starting today, and it will change very quickly. My recent election is a mandate to completely and totally reverse a horrible betrayal and all of these many betrayals that have taken place, and to give the people back their faith, their wealth, their democracy, and indeed their freedom. From this moment on, America's decline is over.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Mike. But man, this speech, man, it was incredible, man. It was. Appreciate you, Ed. The man, it was just crazy, man. It was a complete middle finger to the rhinos. TA, you're absolutely right. Rhinos and the Dems alike, man. He pulled no punches, none. He didn't hold back. I mean, just straight to these people's faces. I mean, watching his speech and watching this, inauguration speech, man, it felt like, it felt like it was a public reckoning. I mean, he laid out every failure of the Biden-Harris administration, and the room erupted in applause. I mean, just absolute brutal, but absolutely well-deserved. They deserved it, man. And without a doubt, everything that America has endured under the leadership, it's this moment, man, it just made it poetic justice, to say the least. This wasn't just a celebration, though. It's a turning point. Seeing Biden and Kamala sitting there forced to listen to Trump spell out their administration's failures was like a public acknowledgement of the hardships that we faced over these past 4 years. It's been tough out there for a lot of people. And it really didn't need to be like that. When you think about the amount of people that have been laid off, you think about how expensive these gas prices have gotten, how expensive food has gotten. I mean, it's just crazy, man. But, now with Trump back in office, it's a clear signal that we are moving past this disastrous chapter. And before we dive in deeper into today's historic celebrations, let's touch on something that really highlights the corruption of the outgoing regime. Just before leaving office, we got to talk about these pardons. I know I did a video on it earlier, but we got to talk about these pardons. Biden made a highly controversial move, granting clemency to nearly 1,500 people. He's calling it the largest single-day pardon in modern history. But let's keep it real. This raises a lot of questions, man. We're going to dig into this a little later. But for now, let's focus on the future and what today means for America. And let's not forget the big names who showed up to witness this historic moment. I mean, tech titans like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg were there. I mean, there's videos of Mark Zuckerberg, kind of peeping a little bit. I don't know what that was about, but the internet is undefeated. And, you probably shouldn't do things like that, Mark. You are a married man. But they did show up, to show support for President Trump. Elon, who is a close advisor to Trump, was front and center, likely thinking about how this administration could drive forward innovations in space exploration and green energy. Even Bezos, despite, past tensions with Trump, seemed ready to build bridges. And Zuckerberg, well, we know what time it is with him. We know he plays on both sides. But today it was clear that it seemed like he was on Team Trump. So their presence in itself signals something bigger. A cultural and political realignment. These powerhouses recognize that Trump's leadership isn't just about politics. It's about paving the way for, economic growth and innovation, which is something that has lacked in this country over the past 4 years or so. This isn't just, a win for Trump. It's a win for the nation. It's a win for America. It's a win for the constituents, the citizens of the United States of America, and a new era begins now. And I'm looking forward to it. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was Nina from MPO Creations had mentioned that, hey, there's going to be a lot of opportunities that are going to present itself in these next, 2, 3, 4 years. We got to be ready to take advantage of those opportunities. We got to. Look at Elon, man. Elon's absolutely living it up right now, ain't he? That dude is, he's absolutely doing it, man. Here's a guy that used to be a Democrat. We know this. Used to be a Democrat. He even donated to the Obama and Clinton, campaigns back in the day. But after witnessing the deplatforming, the censorship, the outright weaponization of our institutions, he made a hard pivot. And honestly, I got to tip my hat to him. Buying X or Twitter, that might be just one of the most consequential moves in modern history, to be honest with you. This dude, he completely flipped the script, man. Completely flipped the script. Democratizing the information space and giving power back to the people. After the swear-in ceremony, Elon made a surprise appearance at Capital One Arena. And let me tell you, the media completely lost their minds. These folks are spiraling out of control. They can't handle the fact that someone as influential as Elon Musk is now firmly, on Trump's side. On the pro-republic side, pro-free speech side. And honestly, it's hilarious to watch.
And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
This guy, man. Yeah, so he poured his heart out to the crowd, man. I don't know if you guys, got a chance to watch this, but he pulled his heart out. He did. And this guy's excitement, it's on another level, man. His energy is unmatched. And how does, the left-wing media, these professional propagandists react? I got to show you, so don't get upset. Don't get upset. I got to show you. This is what we do. But we got to check it out, man. We got to.
Look at that salute that he gave again. Just if anybody missed it,
oh my God,
we'll just show it again. He's just wrapped up here. You can hear the. All right, so we just showed that. We just showed that.
Right. It's worth
Salute.
It was quick. I think our viewers are smart and they can take a look at that. But it certainly was. It's not something that you typically see at American political rallies. Put it that way.
No, it was not something that you usually would see. And it was quick, as you point out. It was very quick, but it was in a moment of intensity for him as he came out dancing, and then he did that. He is a hero here.
And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you. My heart goes out to you. It is thanks to you that the future of civilization is assured.
Now, the crazy thing is that, any little thing to complain about, any way to nitpick anything, make something seem, racist or, Nazi-esque or Hitler-esque, they got to reach for it, man. They have to. That's who they are. That's what CNN does. That's what mainstream media does for the most part. These people are ridiculous, man. Elon throws his heart out, to the crowd. And I mean, this guy's excitement, it's unmatched, and he's a little awkward, he's a little awkward. But the left-wing media, these relentless propagandists, they compare it to a Nazi salute, man. You can't make this stuff up, man. As soon as I saw it earlier, I was like, oh, man, I already know. I know it's coming. I'm sure you guys did as well. I mean, seriously, man. I mean, these people have learned nothing from this election. Nothing. But, hey, whatever, man. We'll let them dig their own grave, and it's absolutely wild here because, here we have Elon Musk genuinely showing his joy, and support for the crowd, and the left-wing media twisted into something sinister. I mean, but you knew they were going to do it. They had to do it. They have to find something negative. They have to. I for the life of me, I don't understand how they come up with this stuff, but to an extent, it's almost like that's who they are. That's their MO. They have to find a way to make this a negative thing. And the thing is, you're going to have people that are going to run with this. You're going to have people that they're not going to watch this. They're not going to watch the speech. They're not going to listen to it. They're going to take it completely out of context and say, yep, look, I told you. That's them. Taking this man moment of excitement and positivity and turning it into a smear campaign. That's who they are. But it should not be beyond comprehension for these people. It really shouldn't, because that's who they are. This is what they do. This is what they do. Spin a narrative, to basically vilify anyone who doesn't fall in line with their agenda. That's what they do. If you don't fall in line with them, you are now a villain, and they're going to find a way to make you one. If you're not one, they're going to make you one. I mean, it's a classic move, man. Take something good, take something genuine, and weaponize it. But I'm sure you guys in the chat, y'all aren't fooled. I'm not fooled. We see through all of their desperate attempts to discredit anyone who stands with our movement. I mean, we know the truth. And we're not going to, I'm not going to let them, I'm not going to let their propaganda, redefine reality. I'm not going to allow it. And at this point, though, I mean, the nonsense, honestly, like I said, is to be expected from these media propagandists. That is who they are. And get this, they're not stopping at Elon. One guy actually went on MSDNC and compared Trump's inauguration to Pearl Harbor. You can't make this stuff up, man. You can't make this stuff up. How do you compare the inauguration to Pearl Harbor? One of the most deadliest days in U.S. history. These people, they disrespect the people who actually served, and lost limb and life in these situations when they make these, ridiculous comparisons.
I would say to people who are seeing today in a darker light, in a darker shade, is you can't surrender your agency in a democracy because you lose a single election. This is about we, the people. We are a player in this symphony, and it's going to be hard, and it's going to be depleting. And as we all know, there are a lot of people who are exhausted. But as John Belushi said, because I'm John Adams to John Belushi, we didn't give up when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor.
No, we didn't.
Yes. So we can't give up now.
Oh, man, I tell you. Comparing Trump's inauguration to Pearl Harbor is just, I'm not even gonna lie to you, man. I'm at a loss for words, to be honest with you, man. This is just wild. It's flat out offensive. Flat out offensive, man. Pearl Harbor was a day of infamy, a tragic event that cost thousands of American lives. And to equate it with a peaceful transition of power in our republic, I mean, it isn't just a stretch, man. I mean, you're not just reaching. I mean, it's an absolute insult to history and those who lived through it. I mean, this level, you know, of this level of delusion, ridiculousness, it just shows the desperation, man. The desperation of a media that can't handle Trump's landslide reelection. I mean, these people are so lost in their bubble that they refuse to see the overwhelming support for Trump, for Musk, and for policies that benefit the nation, man. And it's a sad state of affairs, but, you know, it's also proof of our movement and proof that the movement is gaining strength and gaining momentum. And, you know, while they spin their narratives, President Trump is already hard at work. On this monumental day, he wasted absolutely no time signing the executive orders that will put America back on the right path. Change is here. I can't even say it's coming. It is here. And no amount of media hysteria, no amount of, you know, just gaslighting and lying can stop it.
Sir, the first is 22 cabinet and cabinet level appointments for your signature.
Okay.
The next one will be, excuse me. The next one will be 47 sub-cabinet level appointments, sir.
But you don't have to sign 47 times.
I agree with you, Zephyr.
Thank you, sir. Now 31 acting designations and appointments to effectively take control of the government.
Let's do that.
That's important.
That's important, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't understand the black market either. I don't know, but
Commission chairman and acting chairman appointments.
Send him.
Commission chairman and acting chairman.
He was #1 at Harvard also. You know that?
Good counsel.
They have something in common.
Thank you, sir. Lastly, we have a proclamation ordering that on all future inauguration days, including this inauguration day, that flags shall be flown at full mast.
Very important.
So it was a beautiful place to have an inauguration tonight. The sound was so good. The temperature was 72 degrees, but the sound was so good. So maybe something to think about. I don't know.
yeah, Trump wasted no time. That's the thing, man. We needed someone that was going to say what they do and do what they say. We've been missing that. That's something that's been missing. Seriously. I mean, this man wasted no time. Right out the gate, Trump has signed around 100 executive orders, swiftly undoing much of the Biden administration's agenda, from securing the U.S.-Mexico border to addressing immigration enforcement, transgender policies, and national security. I mean, Trump is making it clear that he is putting America first. Key moves include declaring a national emergency at the southern border, unlocking federal funds for wall construction, and reinstating the Remain in Mexico policy to curb illegal immigration. He's also reversed diversity initiatives in the federal government, emphasizing a merit-based system, and ended the Biden-era electric vehicle mandates, championing consumer choices, When it comes to education, Trump rolled back the transgender policies in schools, returning to traditional guidelines, and suspended the refugee resettlement for 4 months to prioritize national security. He also designated dangerous groups like MS-13 and Tren de Aragua as foreign terrorist organizations, other cartels as well, stepping up the fight against organized crime, which is something that hasn't been happening in this country for the better part of the 3 or 4 years. I mean, these orders, they're not just symbolic orders. I mean, these are bold moves to start a term focused on conservative values and American strength. And as expected, the Democrats and their media allies are absolutely losing their minds once again. But the thing is that they knew this was coming. So you have to think that the outrage is fake, right? This is fake outrage because they knew that this was coming. I know they didn't think that he was just talking, but then again, you know, that's kind of what they got from Biden. Biden told us that his administration would be the most transparent administration that we've ever seen. It was everything but that. But I mean, these people, man, they're flat out losing their minds, man. It's ridiculous.
State of emergency is officially now in effect on the border. Does it feel like an emergency where you are standing?
Feels no different than 20 minutes ago or 30 minutes ago or an hour ago when we got here early this morning, Rachel. The one practical change that we do know that has gone into effect here is that CBP One app that was put into place by the Biden administration, part of their effort, stated effort to have a more fair, safe, humane, orderly process at the border, has been discontinued by the Trump administration and President Trump. I have to say, I've reported from this spot over the course of 4 different presidential administrations for NBC News and MSNBC. In the Obama administration.
Hey, you said Mark Cuban. I thought it was twins. I thought both of them, they're twins. What a stupid question, though. Does it feel like an emergency? This lady makes $25 million to ask those types of questions, or $30 million a year to ask those types of moronic questions. Does it feel like an emergency? I mean, goodness gracious, man. Nothing to see here. We literally got a situation where there's over 300,000 migrant children unaccounted for. People on terror watch lists pouring into country, but nothing to see here. And to be honest with you, if they are mad today, just imagine tomorrow when the mass deportation operation kicks off in cities like Chicago, New York, and Miami. You know, Trump has promised the largest deportation effort in American history, focusing on those here illegally, especially individuals with criminal records or gang affiliations. And that's exactly where he should start. But this isn't just about numbers. It's about sending a clear message that we're taking back control of our borders, protecting our citizens, and enforcing the law. There's a lot of people, even on the other side too, that are in wait and see mode right now. They're in wait and see mode. Let's see what happens. And I'm okay with that. Some of the folks that either decided to not vote, or maybe they voted for Kamala Harris for one reason or another, but they've accepted the fact that, okay, Trump is the president, and they're wait and see. Let's see what happens. Let's see what he does. And I'm okay with that. And while the media, you know, obviously will undoubtedly spin, you know, the deportation as harsh or inhumane, we know better. You guys know better. It's a necessary step to safeguard our country and our children and our way of life. This has to happen, man. And Trump isn't wasting any time. And honestly, we don't want him to waste any time. We don't want him to waste any time when it comes to understanding the seriousness of what's happening at our borders. Change is here, and it's long overdue. Long overdue. And now, shifting gears real fast, we got to talk about something that happened today that's just as revealing about, you know, the previous administration's priorities. But before leaving office, Biden issued a flurry of pardons, and among them were some highly controversial figures. Dr. Anthony Fauci, who led the disaster C-19 response, Liz Cheney, who blatantly lied about Trump's involvement on J6, General Mark Milley, whose disastrous handling of the Afghanistan withdrawal and other questionable actions during Trump's first term were nothing short of shameful. And then, of course, Biden's own family, his brother James, sister Valerie, and more. And here's the question. If they did nothing wrong, why the need for pardons? That's the question right there. That's the $1 million question. If they did nothing wrong, why do they need to be pardoned? I mean, this move right here, man, it screams corruption and cover-ups and, Fauci's mismanagement and Cheney's deceit and Milley's failures and incompetence and, Biden's nepotism. It just all confirmed, with the stroke of a pen, man. All of it. Now, hopefully, we'll find out, exactly what the crimes were. Hopefully that will happen. Hopefully that information will happen. Obviously, they may not be held accountable from a, from a criminal standpoint, but they can still be held liable for civil suits. That can still happen. And let's not forget that Democrats once called preemptive pardons corrupt and an abuse of power and an attack on justice. That's what they said. I mean, it's funny how silent they are about this right now. None of these folks are talking about it. It is funny how silent they are on all of these preemptive pardons, things that really has never happened before. And once again, we were right. It's almost like everything that they say Trump will do, everything that they say the other side will do, it is 1,000% what they're doing. I mean, it's so ridiculous, man.
Have you ever heard of somebody getting a preemptive pardon who was innocent of all crime? Who's just an innocent person? Have you ever heard of that? Just somebody getting a blanket pardon and they're an innocent person?
But no, it's the president's own family. It's people that have been covering up for the president in addition to his own family.
Is there an innocent explanation for someone to seek preemptive pardons for family members? Would you do that if you knew you were innocent and just worried about outside forces?
The answer to that is going to be no. If you haven't done anything wrong, you sit there and go, what do you need a preemptive pardon for?
If he pardons people preemptively, he's essentially telling the public that these people have committed crimes. And we may not be aware of what they are, but the pardon is clear evidence that crimes have been committed.
I imagine if he decides to issue these preemptive pardons, it will be cast in a way that he is protecting his family and protecting their reputations from, villainous exterior forces that are against him.
First off, we should just take a deep breath and acknowledge the audacity of a president who's so clearly concerned about his own criminal culpability and that of his family members that pardons are a major obsession with him.
The idea of a kind of prospective pardon, this sort of permanent federal get-out-of-jail-free card, that seems to be what we're talking about in the case of this, right, with Giuliani and his 3 eldest children who, as far as we know, have not been convicted of a crime. Maybe they've committed a lot. And they don't want to face action. I don't know. It's weird. I wouldn't ask for a pardon. I don't think I deserve one because I don't think I've done anything criminal. But where does that come from? That concept that you can just kind of wave your magic pardon wand.
We have Tish James. We have Xavier Becerra. Mimi Rocha is literally my DA in my town. There will be opportunities to prosecute these people, regardless if they abuse the pardon power as they are thinking.
Hopefully, Ellie, there will be a skyfall on this entire crime family, and there will be another day for them to die.
The president does indeed pardon, let's say, Rudy Giuliani or any members of his family. Would you see that, and I asked Preet Bharara this question, as essentially an admission of guilt?
I certainly would view it that way. I think millions of Americans would view it that way. If there was no belief in criminality, why would he think a pardon was necessary?
CNN has learned President Biden will pardon his son Hunter Biden.
I'm just going to leave that right there, man. I'm just going to leave it right there. Crooks and criminals. Crooks and criminals. And then when Biden was asked back in 2020 about all of this, when he was asked about it, let's hear what he had to say. These people are ridiculous, man. Crickets.
And Trump is reportedly considering a wave of preemptive pardons. Does this concern you? All these preemptive pardons?
Well, it concerns me in terms of what kind of precedent it sets and how the rest of the world looks at us as a nation of laws and justice. You're not going to see in our administration that kind of approach to pardons, nor are you going to see in our administration the approach to making policy by tweets. It's just going to be a totally different way in which we approach the justice. In our administration, that kind of approach to pardons, nor are you going to see in our administration justice. You're not going to see in our administration that kind of approach to pardons, nor are you going to see in our administration the approach to making policy by tweets. It's just going to be a totally different way in which we approach the justice system.
Liars, man. Absolute lies. The crazy thing is, man, the hypocrisy with these people, I mean, it's off the charts, man. Everything that they accuse Trump of doing, they're guilty of it themselves. Biden is doing exactly what he wants condemned. Not just a flip-flop, but a full 180. This exposes their double standards and the lengths that they'll go to protect their own. And this isn't just political maneuvering. It's a direct hit to the integrity of our political system. When Trump was in office, the left was outraged at the mere idea of a preemptive pardon. They called it an affront to justice and, a way to shield the guilty. And they even claimed that it was a threat to democracy itself. That's what they said. But now that Biden is in the spotlight, suddenly it's acceptable. Suddenly it's okay. He's just protecting his family. These people, they didn't do anything wrong. He's just keeping them from, keeping Trump from attacking his political opponents, which is another thing that they did. Suddenly, this move is justified because it's their people. I mean, the hypocrisy is, I'd say it's unbelievable, but it's really not. I'm not surprised at all by this. Man, it just doesn't cease to amaze me.
Seems intent on filling each of his remaining days in office with petulance, grievance, self-interest. The president's reportedly asking his staff about whether he can whether he can issue. President's reportedly asking his staff whether he can issue preemptive pardons for himself, his family members, Rudy Giuliani. There's a simple answer: no. No, Mr. President, that would be a gross abuse of the presidential pardon authority.
Hey, there's no doubt the Democrat Party operates like a criminal organization. I'm convinced. These people know no bounds. This is exactly why the American people are fed up with these Washington elites and their blatant double standards. But credit where it's due. Every now and then, someone on their side will step up. Every now and again. And you guys are going to hate me saying this, but you got to take Jake Tapper from CNN, for example. And we know how Trump deranged that dude is. Now, I know he's not usually someone that we would expect fair commentary from. I know. But whether it's the, pressure of CNN's lawsuits or just a rare moment of honesty and clarity, he called out the hypocrisy, and good on him for speaking the truth. Again, like I said, I didn't have it on my, 2025 bingo card that Jake Tapper would be one to call out the hypocrisy of the left. just didn't.
With these sweeping pardons that President Biden, former President Biden now, is giving to his immediate family. Preemptive pardons for his brothers, Frank and Jimmy, to his sister, Valerie, and then to, I think, a couple in-laws.
Their spouses, yeah.
And that, to a lot of people, this did not go through the regular pardon attorney, the pardon process. And Biden in 2020, when I interviewed him right after he'd been elected, had some very harsh things to say about the idea of Trump giving preemptive pardons to his family members. He said it would set a horrible precedent. Now, Trump didn't do it. Joe Biden did. And we can come back to that subject later in the day.
Throwing the old man under the bus, huh? Oh, man. It's pretty rare to see, someone from CNN of all places admit that preemptive pardons aren't right, especially when it's their own side doing it. But let's keep it real, man. Pardons like these scream guilt. They do. You don't hand them out unless you think there's something to hide. And here's the kicker. These are the same Democrats who freaked out when Trump even considered preemptive pardons, calling it obstruction of justice and, a real threat, to the republic or the democracy. I mean, it's just funny how these same rules don't apply to them now. It's just funny, man. And remember when Biden basically said that he'd only pardon criminals? Because according to him, he's not one of those. It's a classic double standard. Classic double standard with these people. Rules for thee, not for me. That's who they are, man.
Pardons. Have you ruled out a pardon for yourself or any other additional members of the family?
For myself?
Yes, sir.
What would I pardon myself for?
That's what I'm asking.
No, I have no contemplation of pardoning myself for anything. I didn't do anything wrong.
Mr. President, would you comment on Meta's decision to...
Oh, man, I tell you. When we look at who Biden actually pardoned, when we look at, I don't know if you guys have taken the time to go down the list. I don't know if you guys have or not. But, man, it's not good. It's not good. And it's clear that it's not about justice either. It's not about justice. It's about shielding allies. It's about political figures, shielding them, family members of those, and others, tied to controversies that deserve legal scrutiny, but they were handed a free pass. Biden's excuses, man. Biden's excuses, just exceptional circumstances. Man, I don't see how he gets away with it. I don't understand. I see how he gets away with it because they're just not going to push back. And to be honest with you, he may not even know who he's actually pardoning, to be honest with you. If you've seen the video from earlier today with, Speaker of the House, when he didn't even know that he signed an executive order. So it wouldn't surprise me one bit if he's signing, but doesn't really know what he's signing and who he's signing for. The only thing, that is exceptional, about this entire situation there is the level of hypocrisy. That's it. He's pretending to champion the rule of law while completely undermining it. And this is what happens in banana republics. This is the type of stuff that happens in third world countries, not in the United States of America. Now, let's talk about the media for a second. And, if Trump had done this, CNN, MSDNC, and every other, liberal media platform, they would be running this nonstop with panels screaming about the death to democracy. You guys know it. Shouting from the rooftops. But because it's Biden, and because it's the Biden-Harris administration, they're spinning this as something that's noble. Like this is a good thing. I mean, they're claiming that, Trump's going to go after, these people. And so this is just a way to protect them. But if they hadn't done anything, if they are innocent, what's the point of pardoning these people? Seriously. I mean, these are the same people that didn't care about, draining Trump's bank account, with bogus investigations for years. And now suddenly they actually care about fairness. And here's the truth, man. Biden isn't protecting democracy. That's not what this is about. This is about protecting his cronies, protecting his family, and really, it's really a CYA situation. He knows that Trump is back with a vengeance and that they're scared to death. That's what this is about. And these pardons aren't about justice. They're about covering tracks and protecting legacies. And let's keep it real. Joe's legacy, it's toast. He's going to go down as, if not the worst president in U.S. history, he's definitely the worst president in modern U.S. history. That's definitely the case. When you look at the inflation, the border crisis, endless scandals, no, that's definitely going to seal the deal. It is. I mean, this guy is going to go down as one of the worst presidents in American history. And what's next? What's next? Biden's move sets a dangerous precedent. It just does. And if he can pardon his allies, what's stopping Trump from doing the same thing? What's stopping any president from doing what this guy just did? He just set precedents that it can be done. And that, if Trump was to try something along these lines, Democrats would flat out lose their minds over it, and they would forget that Biden kicked this whole thing off. They would forget it. And I'm not saying that Trump should do it. I would hope that he would be the bigger person and say, we're not going to do it. Maybe sign an executive order that says that you can't do stuff like that. No preemptive pardons. Maybe we can get it in Congress or something along those lines where they can vote on it and they can get signed into law that, yeah, the president has the right to pardon, but only those who have actually been charged and convicted of crimes. You can't just blanket pardon people for things that they hadn't even been charged or convicted of. Maybe that's something that needs to see the House floor and the Senate floor. Obviously, it won't change anything for what's going on right now, but it could keep this type of thing from happening in the future. It just sounds like too much like right to me. But at the end of the day, this isn't just about Biden. It's about exposing the rot in the Democratic Party. These people do not care about law. They don't care about order. They don't care about democracy. They don't care about the Constitution. They don't care about the Republic. They don't care about fairness. They don't care about any of that. They care about power and keeping it, abusing it, and silencing you in the process, silencing anyone that actually opposes them. But here's the good news, though. It's a new day in America, man. We're not going backwards. We're moving forwards. Trump's second term, it's a chance to rebuild, correct the course, and truly make America great again. Not just in words, but in actions. And this is our opportunity to strengthen our nation, to unite around shared principles, ideas, and to ensure that the voice of the American people is heard loud and clear. The fight isn't over. We can't rest on our laurels. It ain't over. We're just getting started. We're just getting started. But I will say that he has started things off with a bang. Over 100 executive orders signed already, with more to come. Like I said earlier, I like a president that says what he means and means what he says. Trump is about action. He is about action. And Tom Homan, I would assume tomorrow, he's going to kick things off. And we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to discussing it, talking about it, and we're looking forward to seeing it. We need to get jobs back here. There's been so many people that have been laid off from positions. There's so many people that are, either unemployed, underemployed. There's a lot of that going on, a lot of underemployed. And T.A. Caskey, you're absolutely right. The pen's working overtime, and hopefully it keeps rocking. But change is coming. And we definitely need to have a little patience, because obviously America is a huge ship. It can't just be, quickly turned around. It is a process. Obviously, there's a lot of people out there that they may not want to see, us moving in the right direction. Fortunately, there's not a whole lot that folks can do about it. But I'm looking forward to, seeing the country improve, down at the border, academically, educationally. I'm really, really looking forward to it. We're going to have a guest pull up here in a little bit. My guy, Mike Solano, friend of the show. He has a channel, a little small YouTube channel that, is rocking. So hopefully he'll pull up with me here in a little bit. In the meantime, we'll check out some of the folks in the chat here. See what you guys are talking about. I definitely appreciate you guys pulling up. Hopefully you will do me a solid and hit the like button. Hopefully that will happen. That's the least that you can guys do. And, that's one of the best ways to support the channel is hitting the like button. If you feel inclined, share the stream, share the videos with folks that need to see this, need to hear this information. And it's being good, man. I appreciate you guys pulling up. Definitely appreciate you guys pulling up. But in the chat, man, what did you guys think about? I'd like to see from you guys. I know most of you guys don't want to pull up, but I'll be looking at the chat. What you guys think about, the speech? If there's anything that stood out, anything that stuck out to you guys, during the speech or at any point during the inauguration. I thought Carrie Underwood did well. I don't know who the guy that was in charge of getting the music started. He's fired. Fire his behind, but I thought she did an excellent job a cappella. And to be honest with you, it probably sounded better a cappella opposed to some track that she was going to sing to. That was nice, man. Oh, you missed Carrie's TA? Yeah, it was good, man. That lady, I don't even say the girl. That woman can sing, man. She's got a really, really nice voice, man. It was awesome. That was really, really good. And the acapella, man, and then obviously you had people singing, that joined in. It looked like Kamala Harris didn't know the words to that song either. Oh my goodness. Joe Biden, took 3-4 cat naps. That was something else. And honestly, the pomp and circumstance, and I get it, but even Trump was like, hey man, let's get this thing moving. You could kind of see it in his face as well. That he was, like, hey man, let's get this thing moving. Let's get this thing moving. All right. We're going to be right back. We got to take a quick break. Won't be too long. But we got to have a word from our sponsor, Lear Capital, and we'll be right back with Mike Solano. Let me be brutally honest with you all. Our American values and financial system are under attack right now. You need to act fast and learn alternative ways to invest. That's why I trust Lear Capital for buying gold and silver. In today's volatile economic and political climate, precious metals can protect your wealth. Lear Capital has over 27 years of experience, thousands of 5-star reviews, and more than 3 billion in trusted transactions. Here's what I recommend. Call Lear Capital today, 800-489-6450, or visit learrp.com to request their free gold and silver investor kit. You can take possession of your metals, store them, or even roll over an IRA or 401k into a gold IRA with the same tax benefits. Plus, they're offering up to $15,000 in bonus gold for qualified purchases. Call today at 800-489-6450 or go to learrp.com for more information. All right, welcome back. Go over to learrp.com. Check out what they have to offer in a in reference to gold and silver, man. Great company. Go check them out today. We are going to bring on my guy Mike Solano. He has a channel, and I'll let him introduce himself and introduce the channel to him. Man, he's a good guy. He's been a supporter and follower of this channel for quite some time. And let's bring Mike on.
All right, I'm here. Can you
What's
hear me?
going on, Mike? How you doing today, brother?
Good, brother. Should I freeze up now?
Nope, you're good. You're good.
No, I mean, should I do that deer in the headlight look for you?
Don't do that.
I thought I would get on board and just go.
Yeah. How you doing today,
anyway,
man?
Doing great. How are you, brother? I mean, today was a day I've waited 4 years for.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was like, I don't know if it was, like Christmas and Chinese New Year and everything rolled up into one. It just all came together. I'm like, it was bricks off the shoulders, man. It was like freedom. It's like everything that, you fought for as a podcaster, everything you fought for as a service member, everything you fought for as an American, as a man, everything that we've been fighting for, as the culmination came together. And it's like, God didn't forget us. Yeshua, he just did not forget us. And it's like, oh, thank you, God. Thank you so much.
I agree. Absolutely.
So,
Before you go, because I know you got a lot to say and I want you to say it. A couple of things. Two, introduce your channel.
Okay.
And the second thing is let everybody know about Childlike Candle.
Okay, so I have a channel that I just started. It's called Faith, Family, Freedom. And what I deal with is more in a biblical sense, of how the word of God has been altered. It's just not the same as it was in first century Christianity. And I've done a lot of reading on the early church fathers, they slip my mind now because I've got so much on my brain, but, just going back, to the first century and looking at, the 7 churches in Revelations and so on and so forth and how false doctrine has slipped in. And I challenge these things. And I'll give you a good example of one of the things that I challenge. One of the things is are Christians allowed to judge? Because that comes up quite a bit. It's like judge not lest ye be judged. Yet there's many, many verses throughout the New Testament where we're commanded to judge. It's just that we have to judge righteously. Jesus was judging the Pharisees when the whore was brought before him. When he said, I don't judge you, he was judging them because she came and she was humble. They were arrogant and prideful. He wasn't letting them out of the loop. He was judging. He said, if you want to cast the first stone, you do it. If you're without sin, do it. He was judging them on this. Okay, let's see how righteous you are. But for her, she was humble and broken. So he gave her forgiveness. And that's the whole thing about judgment. Judgment is very, very forgiving to those who are repentant, but it's very strict on those who are arrogant and prideful. So, and Christians don't understand that. And that's what I'm trying to, break into is like, hey, let's take a look at this from a different perspective. Let's take a look at this from, the different writings of the early church fathers. Now, when you go to the channel, you'll see our commercial there. And what I've done is when I came to Texas homeless. I had 5 kids, $5,000 and no place to live. We just came. I hitched up the wagon, got the horses, put Texas, our bus on the side of the covered wagon, and we came down here. And we lived in, hotels, shelters, whatever we can live in until we build something. And Texas has been good to us. It allowed me to build a business called Dallas Windows and Gutter Cleaning, which then got me into this business here, Childlike Candles, where I've been able to, offer this candle to people. Whoever buys one, 25% goes to help veterans in need. And I've been able to help a couple of people, not a lot because we're still growing. But I believe you got to try them. Some of them you like,
Absolutely.
some of you didn't. And sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. I mean, I have different flavors. I've got some new ones up there that are really, really good. I got one that's called leather cinnamon, and that's really, really nice. I got another one that's vanilla cinnamon. I love it. And my favorite is frankincense and myrrh, but your wife didn't like that one, but that's okay. But there's other ones out there. But with that being said, the channel is called Faith, Family, Freedom. You'll know it because you'll see this symbol, the Childlike Candle symbol. You'll see that next to it, and so you'll know it's there. And I think you said you might leave a link for it in your description box if you wouldn't mind, sir.
Yep, I will definitely do that. I also put a link for it in the chat. So go over there and check out Mike Solano's channel as well. He's doing some great work over there. Childlike Candles, I personally have a plethora of candles. Most of them are good. There's one or two that my wife didn't really care for like that, but overall, good product. And 25% of the proceeds goes to help homeless veterans in need, and obviously that is something that I can get behind. I can get behind for sure. But I appreciate you introducing yourself and Childlike Candle, the channel, so forth and so on. But let's start with the inauguration, man. I know this was a day that you've been waiting on for 4 years, but what were your thoughts? What did you think about what you saw today?
Well, the one thing I saw was the restoration of what America is about, and I'm going to be having a gentleman on my show pretty soon. It's really nice because I'm going to have my first interview, and it's going to be with a guy who's an avowed socialist, and what I saw was basically the end of a very militarized government against its own people, and the restoration of a government for the people the way it was meant to be, and that's what I saw was a lot of Americans don't understand their government because they don't read the founding documents. And two of the document books that I would really highly recommend all Americans, all of your listeners reading, is the Federalist Papers and the Anti-Federalist Papers. And the reason being is because the Bill of Rights actually came from the Anti-Federalist Papers. So that's how we got our Bill of Rights, from people who disagreed with the federal government and wanted more state government and said, okay, we have to have some rights in there so that the government has some don'ts. And one of the things, if you remember, Obama says, he complained about the amendments, and he said, the amendments are always talking about what the government can't do. What can the government do? Well, that's not what the founding fathers wanted. They wanted a government that didn't do much, and that we had 50 individual, petri dishes of governments that are outside of us that can do anything. You don't like your government in Virginia? Go to Texas. You don't like the government in Texas? Go to Florida. You don't like it in Florida? Go to California.
Absolutely.
And that's what the founding fathers wanted, and that's what I saw a restoration of today, of individual state rights. The 10th Amendment is what we need to get back. And this is, I've been with you for a long time. I've watched you grow, and I'm so proud of you, man. I've watched you grow from when I started with you, 37,000, and you're up to what, like 50 million now? You're huge. You're big. You're a superstar.
I wish.
No, but I just watch you grow, and I'm so proud of you. I listen to you, and I watch your show, and the wisdom that you give out. It's men like you that bring the greatness back to this country, that have restored my faith in this country as a service member. When I can look at you guys, and when I saw Trump go in there, this was like the culmination of everything that I served for in the military for 10 years. It's like, oh, thank God the American people had some common sense, and they saw through the BS. The biggest thing when I was
before you go, hey Mike, dive in real brief. You don't have to be super long, but briefly dive into the 10th Amendment real fast.
Okay, the 10th Amendment is the separation of powers between the states. Okay, whatever is not reserved for the federal government is reserved for the states, and that was the one that said, listen, because the U.S. Constitution is you got to remember, it's a document of the people, by the people, for the people, and the amendments were there to show you the rights that you have against the government. Okay, so the government can't impose on you, and whatever rights are not given to the government, whether they be implied or unimplied, are down to the states. And if you remember, do you remember the movie The Patriot with Mel Gibson?
Yeah, absolutely.
He made a phrase that stuck with me. He said, "Why would I want, why would I trade one tyrant 3,000 miles away for 3,000 tyrants a mile away?" And that's exactly what the federal government has become. It's become, how many people are in there? 4 million people are in the federal government right now? 4 million?
Yeah, somewhere in that realm. Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. I mean, in all reality, the federal government should be a skeleton of what it is now, because the states should be running everything. And, the 10th Amendment was designed so that way the states could have more power. And going into this is going to touch a lot of hit people, the right and wrong way. And I'll see if I can breach this with kid gloves. The Civil War was not so much a fight as it was for slavery in the beginning, as it was who has power. They were fighting over, do Virginians rule Virginians, or does Washington rule Virginians? And that's what the biggest fight, that's what the beginning was. And then, thank God slavery got into it, because, the way it was cruel. It was cruel. And the interesting thing is, I'm going to do a Bible study on slavery, because slavery's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. Of course, yeah. If you look at Titus, the book of Titus, he was a servant that he was a slave of an owner, and he was the owner became a Christian, and he let Titus go so he could serve on missions with Paul, but he was still a slave. So, it was never criticized in that sense. And you had to understand, back in those days, slavery was a form of economic. It was a form of payment, because if you were so poor you couldn't take care of your family, you endowed yourself to somebody and said, look, if you feed my kids, educate my kids, so on and so forth, I'll work for the rest of my life.
And it was more like what was called indentured servitude than what some of the
Well,
slavery
there was actually indentured
to an
servitude
extent.
and slavery. There was both. Okay. And so some were saying, look, if you take care of my kids, and you educate them and so forth, and make sure that, the children I have will go off and be free, I'll work for you for the rest of my life. So you take care of my kids. But
That's almost like indentured servant or
correct.
sharecropping or something along those lines in exchange for
But
work to an
Jesus
extent.
Jesus had a strict standard for that. You have to be compassionate. Everything has to be governed by 1 Corinthians 13, agape love. Whether you're the holder of slaves or whatever at that time, you had to be very, compassionate. You had to be very, just like Christ, because even Jesus said, you have a master in heaven. So remember who you are and remember who I am. But as going back to the inauguration, didn't Melania Trump look wonderful? Didn't she look great? Didn't
She
it
did.
just? I mean, when you were looking up there, didn't you feel like the adults were back in charge again? That
Yeah,
common sense was coming
absolutely.
back. Yeah, and that's what I
Absolutely.
felt too. I just felt that the BS was stopping. This crap of we're going to be the most transparent government, and Biden is the sharpest guy in the block, and he's his wit is, and finally we got a president that was able to walk on stage without having been told what to do, and he didn't fall down.
No, he did not.
So it was just, and he was signing executive orders in front of people. If you watched the whole inauguration, he freed the J6 prisoners. He signed, he got us out of the Paris climate control. He put strong borders in. They're already crying at the border. So
Yeah.
if you've got a salty, a liberal salty tears cup, you might want to get a triple size one because they're going to be crying tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to watching. This is the first time in a long time I'm going to be looking forward to watching The View.
That's going to be interesting, tomorrow's show. I don't think they were on today, but tomorrow's show is going to be interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know. Because I do get a lot of crap for, covering things on The View, but they say so much ridiculousness that you have to talk about it. You have to.
I know.
But
I watch
in
your
reference to, not necessarily The View, but in reference to the pardons, and what kind of came down at the last minute from Joe Biden. And if you want to go back a little further, a couple weeks back or a couple months back in reference to these pardons, what are your thoughts, on that situation? And my second question to you is, should Trump consider, because I don't think an executive order would help it, but consider urging the House to vote on not allowing presidents to do preemptive pardons and allow that to run through the House and the Senate?
You know what? That's okay. Now, with that being said, going back on Joe Biden's pardons, okay, you have to ask the question of why is he doing it? Okay, what's the purpose? What is he trying to hide? Because he's giving pardons to people that haven't been accused of a crime, except for his son.
He's the only one.
Yeah,
but
the other ones,
he also blanketed it back. He went back 12 to 14 years or so,
yeah,
something like that.
Yeah. Well, but look at he gave a pardon to Merrick Garland. Why? He hasn't broken the law, so to speak.
Well, that we know of.
That's what I'm saying. That what is he trying to hide? What are you trying to protect these people from? Because everything that he's doing goes back to him. And here's the sad part. Not even him. It goes to Barack Obama. Okay, Biden is too stupid to run the White House, dude. You know that, and I know that. Okay, that guy. I know baked potatoes that are more intelligent than him. So this guy was not there. Look at the debate that he did with Trump. That man was shot up with so many drugs just to be able to be cogent at that, and it didn't work. These pardons were to protect people behind the scenes that were actually running Biden. So they weren't there for.
I don't know if you saw I did a video on it earlier today, but I don't know if you saw the clip of Speaker Mike Johnson. He was speaking with and I can't think of her name now, but it was the Free Press DC, and he was speaking, and he was talking about trying to get a meeting for upwards of 2 months with the president. And this is Speaker of the House, should be able to. You are 2 steps away from becoming president, and you can't get a meeting with the president. And when he finally got the meeting, when he got there, everybody was there. Kamala Harris, Schumer, all of these people were there for a meeting where it should have just been President, Speaker of the House. And he asked him about a specific executive order that was signed. And he did not know that he signed the executive order. So it really makes you wonder, for real, who's been running the nation for the past 4 years? I don't know if we'll ever really find out, but there should be some investigation to it. And that is some heads should roll behind that.
Well,
because we have a president signing executive orders that don't know what he's signing. I mean, it's a form of elder abuse.
Well, yes, but it's more than a form of elder abuse. It's really it borderlines on treason to the nation.
Absolutely.
It's abuse to us. I mean, I hate to say it the wrong way, but screw Biden. Who cares? I don't care if they're abusing him. I mean, he put himself in that position. He wants to be there, and his wife wanted him there. So because she was drunk with the power and the prestige of being in the White House. With that being said, and then Kamala, she was also there. She wasn't going to do anything because she was hoping that he would fall apart 2 years ago. So she could.
Yeah, but she might not. I don't think she was much better than him when it comes to knowing anything from a policy standpoint. She's just been a figurehead as well. So
and yeah, that's absolutely 100%. We saw that on a campaign trail. But with that being said, she wasn't going to say nothing because she was hoping he would drop and she could assume power, or the 25th Amendment would kick in and they would give it to her. But they never did because they didn't want her there in the first place. But with that being said, this whole thing was an abuse to the nation. Forget about Biden. This was an abuse to us. This is abuse to your family, to my family, to all the American families out there that go to work. They put on their boots, and their pant legs on one leg at a time and go to work. This is an abuse of them. Letting in all these illegals was and everything they did to try this. If you go back and read the Cloward-Piven strategy, this was exactly what they wanted to do. They wanted to overwhelm the system, the welfare system, the work system, the police system, the fire system. The whole thing of everything they're doing is trying to destroy the system one layer at a time. And, Trump was in the way because he was going to expose them. So they tried to kill him. They tried to bankrupt him. They tried to take him off the ballot. They smeared this man's name in the news. I mean, they called him everything but a child of God. So this man was, he was run through the ringer, and he stood toe to toe with that. And it's hard for me to say that this is not the man that God wanted in charge. That God didn't want this man here. I would agree with that. Romans 16. Yeah, Romans 16. Every leader is in charge because God wants them there, and they were there. And again, going back to my channel, if your viewers come on, it's a more Christian-based channel. I'm going more for gospel and how that fits in your life, because what you're doing is a great service to this nation by educating us in what the politics are. You're bringing across, because you're a Christian man, you're bringing across a righteous perspective on politics today through a Christian viewpoint. That's great. And what I want to do is I want to return us to the faith-based Bible that we had a long time ago, because the Christianity we've got today is not the Christianity of 2,000 years ago. It's not even close. It is so far away. We don't structure our homes the right way. We don't, even today, calling ourselves a Christian, that's a bad word. That's really a bad word, because if you go to Acts chapter 9, verse 26, the Christians were first called, the disciples were first called Christians in Antioch, and that was a way to mark them, to label them, to put them on the outside. So that wasn't, they didn't call themselves that. They didn't do that. They were followers. They were disciples of Christ. They didn't call themselves Christian. They got that moniker from somebody else so they could be labeled, and so that way Nero had a way to oh, you're a Christian and I can throw you in jail type deal. So that those are some of the things I want to get into and shed light on. But as far as the inauguration is concerned, dude, it was just a relief. I mean, honestly, I hate to put it in this analogy, but I was getting ready to sit back and just start smoking cigarettes. Because
don't do that. Don't do that.
You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
I got you.
I was like, oh, the relief. All the pressure came out. I don't smoke. I do chew tobacco. I am a former Ranger, so I can't get that out of my system. But with that being said,
I'm gonna have to work on you on that one too. We got to get you off of that too.
I'll let you do it, brother. I sit at your feet as a servant. But with that being said, the inauguration was it was magnificent. It was all encompassing. I mean, even Snoop Dogg was there, dude. Snoop Dogg was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to share this with you. This right here really, really stuck out to me at the inauguration. I know a lot of folks, there were some people that kind of felt the kind of way, about this, but Pastor Lorenzo Sewell from Detroit, I don't know if you recall seeing him during when Trump went up to Detroit. I don't know if you recall, but he was one of the pastors that sat down and spoke with him. But when he did his prayer, dude, it was phenomenal. And, a lot of people enjoyed it. They loved it. They liked it. There was a lot of people that, they felt a certain kind of way about it. But I want to play it, and I want to get your reaction from it.
Please.
We're so grateful that you gave our 45th and now our 47th president a millimeter miracle. We are grateful that you are the one that have called him for such a time as this, that America would begin to dream again. We pray that we would fulfill the true meaning of our creed, that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. We pray that you use our president, that we will live in a nation where we will not be judged by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character. Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, we are so grateful today that you will use our 47th president so we would sing with new meaning, my country, 'tis of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring, and because America is called to be a great nation, we believe that you will make this come true. So let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, let freedom ring. From the curvaceous hilltops of California, but God, we're asking you not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain, Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and every molehill in Mississippi, from every state, every city, every village, and every hamlet. And when we let freedom ring, we will be able to speed up that day where all of your children, black men and white men, Protestant and Catholic, Jew and Gentile, will be able to sing in the meaning of that old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank you, God Almighty. We are free at last. If you believe where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Come on, put your hands together and give your great God great glory.
Amen. Praise you, amen. Oh. Who is
That was
that
powerful,
man?
dude.
Are you kidding
That
me?
was powerful, man. Oh my
That guy-
goodness.
you want to talk about a guy who was in the Spirit of the Lord? That man is beautiful. That this is it. I'm so, when I found you, I was so glad to see a black man preaching what you preach and teaching what you teach, because we need more of that in your culture. We need, you're an American. This is who you are, but you're a black American. And it's a different culture, just like a Chinese culture is a different culture in America, so on and so forth. And we have our little cliques and we've been this way forever, but we're a melting pot. And we need more strong men like you and him, because you guys have a way of just pulling emotions out of us. I mean, that was reminiscent of Martin Luther King. I mean,
It
that
was.
really, it just.
Some of it, there's bits and pieces that was pulled from that I Have a Dream speech. There was bits and pieces.
He does it, but his words,
but the
way
cadence,
he was,
yes.
the emotion, the spirit behind it. I mean, the man was so powerful. And, his phrase, free at last, free at last, free at last. I've been posting that all over Facebook. Free at last, free at last, free at last. This is, we're back, brother. America's back.
Yeah.
America's
invoking
back.
the name of Jesus
Amen.
on that large of a scale is something that we hadn't seen in a while.
Well, you know what? We did see it. We saw it a few weeks ago when Kamala Harris said, "Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally."
Oh yeah, I was going to go
we saw
there.
it. Yeah, we saw it. No, I went there
seen,
first, brother.
We seen something antithetical to that.
Correct.
And it was really, really awesome to see. It really was on a not just a national platform. I mean, this is an international. I mean, people are watching this from all around the world. And, you know, it was awesome to see. You know, it really was.
You know, look at the inauguration of Joe Biden when he got inaugurated and how many dignitaries didn't come versus the inauguration of Trump. I mean, look at what, you know, that's, you asked me about the inauguration. Look how many dignitaries came. You know, how many, you know, and here's another one, brother. Look at a couple of years ago, how we were getting censored and banned and demonetized and blocked. And now look at all the high tech, what do they call it? Tech oligarchs. Look at all of them sitting at the feet of Trump now. You know, Amazon, you know, Google was there. Facebook was there.
Meta,
you know,
Facebook, Instagram, all of that. Yeah.
They were all there, man. And, you know, we already got X. So, you know, the culture war is being won by Trump, and, you know, it's, you know, freedom, you know, even though here's the thing about freedom. And if you look at the founding of the documents, we're given, you know, all men are created equal for, you know, we have the right to pursue life, liberty, and happiness. Okay. But, you know, we cannot pursue these things if we don't have one key factor in there. It's called morality. We have to have morality, and morality cannot be subjective. It has to be objective. It has to be not based upon who we are, but something that is greater than us, you know, as human beings. Because if we don't, then we get your morality or my morality, and who am I to say what you can do? It has to be somebody above us, and that's why we have the sinless example of Christ setting up who we are, and our governments are supposed to role model themselves after him. You know,
absolutely.
And I don't
One second, Mike. 1 second, Mike. We got to stop the show real fast for a super chat. Let me bring it back up. Appreciate you, Marta. Is it Magdalena? You are up and running. Thank you for your dedication. I appreciate your support. I appreciate the $10 super chat. Thank you very much, sister. God bless you. Thank you for supporting the channel. All right, sorry about that, Mike.
No. Hey, always got to give time for that. You know, what did Rush Limbaugh call it? The obscene profit break. Hey, man, I hope the Lord blesses you, brother. I hope the Lord blesses you tremendously.
I'm blessed, man. I really am. And
I want to see you grow. Go ahead.
Thank you. I thank you. I am blessed. I am.
Yeah.
You know, I don't take it for granted, but I am definitely that. And this has been good, man. But
it is. And one of the things I always say about, you know, it's, you know, I watch a lot of these shows, and I'm glad to have known you personally, you know, on a off the show basis, you know, because I look at the kind of man you are and what you lead, and you know, for your listeners out there, you are who you present on the TV screen, and it's, you know, you could tell the character of a man. And, you know, when I see somebody like you, you know, I look at you and I say, you know, this is the kind of guy that I would will my kids to. You know, if I was to die, I would will my kids over to this man, because I know you would raise my kids in the way that God wanted them raised. You know, and that's what America's supposed to be about. You know, the village that Hillary Clinton talked about, it takes a village. Well, you're the man that should be in that village, not the transgender health and human secretary, whatever her name is up there, you know, that, or Pete Buttigieg. Now Pete Buttigieg can go home and be a mom, you know, if he wants to be. You know, he can go ahead and do that stuff. He can go get his mom job. But we got real people up there. You know, and it's, you know, going back into the pardons and everything like it. The nice thing, let's go into some good pardons. You know, the J6 pardons. You know, Trump signed those, and they're all released. They're all released, and you know, they have no grounds to complain because of Hunter Biden and because of the pardons that, you know. Look at Joe Biden pardon with his blanket pardons. How many murderers did he pardon? Oh
man, he let some pretty shifty, shady types out, you know, some very nefarious people out there. When you think about, you know, some of the acts against children, some of those folks, and you know, people, you know, that have, you know, really done some heinous acts out there. And honestly, man, I don't think he knew what he was doing for real. I think some of it maybe, but you know, a good amount of it, it's just hard for me to believe that some of the people that he let go. And then again, you know, there's also some back scratching going on. When you think about, you know, he's let some, you know, I guess some folks with ties to China and things of that nature that he has released. So there's definitely, you know, some back scratching going on and things of that nature. But it's just so unfortunate. And I mean, this guy, 1,500 pardons in a single day. He had another day where he did 2,200. You know, it's just crazy, man. It really is. And it's unfortunate. and he's setting precedents. And that's why I'm hoping that this can't be done it can't be done in a executive order. It's going to have to go through Congress in order to put some limitations on what can. I mean, dude, blanket pardons for things, for crimes that have not been charged nor convicted. That right there is ridiculous. Like that's a complete abuse of power right there.
Well, I know I agree with that, but again, it's going to be difficult to do something like that because of the separation of powers. That the executive branch holds that ability to do that, and Congress doesn't have a right to impose themselves in that. It reminds me.
Yeah, but Congress votes on the laws. The executive branch holds up the law.
Well, they can
but
do
Congress implements implements the law. So
that
I mean,
that would be something that would really. It would be a legal. Let's put it this way: there's a legal fight coming up. Okay, there is a legal fight coming up. It's the 14th Amendment, and Trump's going to do an executive order on it where he's going to take away birthright citizenship. Okay, so it's going to throw that big thing inside there. So we're going to see, the executive branch, the legislative branch, we're going to see them get into a fist fight over this one because there's going to be a fist fight over that one. So we're going to see how this works out and plays out, in that sense. So
I just don't want this to be something that every president starts to do going
too late
forward.
now. Too late now.
Yeah, because he's opened up. But that's kind of what the Democrats do, right? They open Pandora's box, and the next thing you know, 10 years we're still dealing with it, and it's crazier than people ever even imagined that it would be.
Right. It goes back to again, once you give the government the ability to do something like that, they just take it, all the way to the extreme. It's so we're going to get into that executive legislative fight here in just a little bit because Trump is going to sign the executive order. I think it was the 1898 of Wang Kim Soon or something like that about citizenship. I can't remember. I did do some research on it before the show, but it talked about sorry about the cameo.
No worries.
It talked one of my rescues, but it talked about birthright citizenship. But one of the arguments that's going to be presented in that one is if a parent does something illegal, does that give the child the right to benefit from the act? So that's what's going to come up. Just because I rob a bank doesn't mean I get to keep the money because I gave it to my kid and put it in a trust.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. So that's gonna I think Trump has some legal ground for this one on that, and if he can revoke birthright citizenship, if he can clean up the immigration rules, if he can get the immigrants out here, and if they can pass a national voter ID law, that's going to stop the Democrats in their tracks.
Yes, it will.
So those two things he has to do.
They're going to fight that tooth and nail. They don't want that, but I really feel like you hit the nail on the head right there. That should be, as much as they want the federal government involved with things, that's the one thing that they don't want the federal government involved in making it mandatory for voter ID. When the crazy thing is you can't get on a plane without an ID. You can't do anything for the most part without an ID.
Go get a job.
Yeah, you can't get a job. You need two forms.
Buy alcohol. Go buy alcohol. Go buy alcohol. Go to a bar. Go buy a weapon. But yes, if they can, Tom Homan. Well, first of all, getting rid of the illegal aliens. If they can do, okay. So here, a warning for your viewers: get ready for the news media to exploit the heck out of this one. I mean, they're going to be there. Every crying mother, every screaming kid. It's going to be
absolutely.
Do you remember the story when Bill Clinton put that one kid back to Cuba? Do you remember that story?
Yes. Oh man.
I can't remember, but you remember how the news media just went after him on that one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And he was, he kicked him out of the country, and the kid was already here for like 4 or 5 years. He was going to school. He was here, but he did it, and it's like they got him for it, but he did it. He said, "Hey, we got to send him back," and they went in and did this stuff. But it's funny how they're okay with that they can do it themselves, but we can't do it they opened up the floodgates for the borders, and you're going to see all this whining and crying. I'm going to just say to all your viewers,
it's already happening. It's already happening. There's already videos out there of people out there crying, and they got all the media down there. They're already there exploiting these people.
Yep.
Absolutely, Zephyr. That's right. Elian Gonzalez. That's the name.
There it is. Thank you.
That's it. Much. Appreciate you. Thank you. And you're absolutely right.
So, but I'm glad I knew.
Thank you, Survival of a Church Girl.
Right. So, but get ready, steel your spine, steel your spine, because we're gonna have to be tough in this one. The fight's not over.
Oh yeah.
It's just not over.
Definitely not. It's just getting started. I think that's the other thing. I don't want people to get complacent. I don't want people to think that, oh, Trump's in, he's been sworn in, and it's a done deal. No, the battle's just begun. Well, there's a lot that needs to be done. And the country, it's a large ship, and you can't. It's a slow process to turn a ship around.
Correct.
And so much damage has been done over the past 4 years. I mean, honestly, I don't even know if Trump will be able to finish the job.
Well,
honestly, there's so much that needs to be done. We have to make sure that come 26 that we get the right people in Congress.
There you go.
The rhinos, the people that fight tooth and nail, we got to make sure that we get them out and get the right people in. And then come 28, we need to make sure that the bench is strong, which I think it is. But we got to make sure that we get the right people in come 28, because like I said, there's so much that needs to be done. The country has been run into the ground, maybe past, and we can't expect for Trump to come in and fix, because, I mean, it's just like your credit. It doesn't take long to destroy your credit, but it will take you a while to rebuild it. You know what I'm saying? And I think we're in that situation, and people, I don't want anybody to think that this is going to be a quick fix. Yes, there are some things that can change pretty quickly, but there's, a plethora of things that it's going to be a while, and especially before we really see, the fruits, of what's happening and what's been implemented, via executive order, so forth and so on.
Well, the good news on two fronts of that. One, our founding documents are pretty strong. They've done everything they can. Obama did it for 8 years, and probably, I would say, 4 years of this last term. He did it. I don't see this as a Biden term. I just don't see. I mean, honestly, Biden has no accomplishment. I mean, his greatest accomplishment was the '94 Crime Bill Act, which put a lot of black people in prison, is what it. That was his greatest accomplishment. But I don't really see Biden as having I just, there was somebody behind there. There was a lot of powers behind Biden. Powers
absolutely.
That we don't know about. And thank God for a really strong Constitution. Our founding fathers knew what they were doing. But the other good thing that gives me hope is there's a lot of people like you, doing what you're doing. Sounding the alarm, standing on the front lines of social media, the warfare in social media, which is the new battlefront. It's a huge battlefront, and you're there, and a few other people are out there. But what I see you guys doing is keeping people abreast of the situation, because you're right. Trump has 18 months. He's got 18 months, and then the Congress comes back up. So we've got to get people inside there that are going to support him, and we got to point out these rhinos, and we got to pull these guys out of there. I mean, they've got to, and we got to get rid of this Congress made for the Septuagints, the 70-year-olds. We got to get to a young, strong, vibrant J.D. Vance type Congress, where we got young men in there that their children are going to live under the laws that they pass. And one law that I would like to see passed, and they like to come up with these names for laws. If I was to have a law passed, it would be called "What's Good for the Goose is What's Good for the Gander" Act, which means if Congress passes it and the American people got to live by it, so do they.
Yes. I'm with you on that 1,000%. We got to get out of here. We're going to shut the stream down. But before we do, any last words for the people? Anything that you want them to know, or anything that you'd like to say?
The one thing I want to say is if we don't get back, great. It's great that God gave us our country back. But here's the deal: don't pay God lip service. We have to get back to the Word of God. We have to get back to the Bible. We have to get morality back in our life, and we've got to spread the Word of God, because politics is nothing but the religion of the devil. So it's powers and principalities, and I'm going to be doing a video on this tomorrow morning and getting it out about who's really behind governments. It's not who you think it is. With that being said, we need to get Christ back in our lives and start spreading that gospel around the world.
I would agree 100%. I would agree.
Other than that, thank you so much for having me.
Not a problem. Appreciate you pulling up today. Link to Mike Solano's channel is in the chat. I will leave it in the description box as well. Please go over and check them out. You can go over to Childlike Candle. Is it childlikecandle.com? Is that it?
It's childlikecandles.com. They can go there, and if they watch any of the videos, I've got the commercial up there, and there's always a link in the description on my videos.
Yep, and there's a few links in a plethora of my videos as well. People are still buying candles from here and there.
Correct.
And definitely going to check you out, just from my lowly platform, man. So it's been good.
Lowly platform, nothing. You're a superstar, man. You're getting ready to go to Hollywood.
I highly doubt that, and I wouldn't go to Hollywood. I would turn that down in a heartbeat.
No, I'm talking about the one in Florida, brother. The one in Florida. The one in Florida.
Okay, Hollywood, Florida. Okay, that sounds a lot better. But
we'll put you in a red state, brother. We'll keep you with us. We need you with us.
Yeah, please don't do me like that. Please don't do me like that.
Love you too much. Hey, thank you for having me. Really appreciate it, brother. God bless you for what you do. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you.
Appreciate you, Mike. Thank you, man. We'll get you back on the show. We'll definitely get you back on. I enjoyed this, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation, man. All right, Mike, take it easy, bro.
Next time I come on, the deer in the headlight looks. Come on, brother.
I'm sure of it. Take care, man.
Take care, brother. Out here.
All righty, man. I appreciate you guys pulling up, man. If you did not already, man, make sure you hit the like button for me. Appreciate all the blues, T.A. Caskey, B, Zephyr, Renee. Appreciate you guys modding, keeping things peaceful and civil in the chat as always. Shout out to you, Tony Hudson, man, for subbing to the channel. Appreciate you. Subbing to Mike's channel as well. Appreciate you guys, man. RJ Hudson, as always, appreciate you pulling up. Ed Maurer, appreciate you pulling up as well. As always, I appreciate the support. Once again, I want to make sure Marta Magdalena get some love. Shout out to you, sister, for the $10 super chat. Definitely appreciate that as well. Appreciate everybody who supports the channel in all shape, way, forms, of fashion. Like button, sharing, watching the videos and streams all the way through. Definitely appreciate you guys, man. I hope you guys enjoyed Mike pulling up. Hopefully you'll go check his channel out. It is faith-based. Check out Childlike Candle as well. I love the fact the candles, they are good, but I also love the fact that 25% of the proceeds does go towards helping, homeless veterans that are in need out there. Even if it's just in a small way, I think that's a positive thing. I think those are some of the people that we definitely need to focus on supporting whenever we can, for sure. So, like I said, appreciate you guys pulling up. Lord willing, we'll be at this tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. Hey, stay prayed up, stay bundled up, man. It is cold as all get out. It's not going to get warmer here where I live at. So I'm sure anybody that's north of me, obviously, man, we got a crazy cold front all across the country, man. It's just nasty outside. So stay bundled up out there, man. Be safe out there in these streets. Keep God first in your life. Stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Vibes so raw, can't hide the truth. Words so sharp.